recently to help calm down my anxiety and distract me from doing OCD compulsions. Here's the picture of J-Hope from BTS that I used as a reference. This is all done in Clip Studio Paint. I didn't record the sketching phase, sorry about that. I basically did a whole bunch of sketches one day, then slept on them to give me time to notice if there was anything wrong with them. I might start sleeping on my line art too. I draw my line art with the G pen at 3-point and 100% stabilization. It makes the pen lag a lot, but it looks much smoother, and I can slowly go over my sketch without it getting all bumpy. In the end, it's faster than drawing carefully with an unstable pen or using vector lines, at least for me. Initially, I lined the lips, forgetting that I don't like doing that, so I eventually erased that. And initially I was lazy, but then I made it the hook for the button thicker than just a line. Drawing a nice circle is hard, even with stabilization on. I misinterpreted my own sketch for a moment and made the front of the overalls weird and short. It didn't take me too long to realize my mistake. The only time I change line width is for the top eyelines. Gotta represent those eyelashes, although J-Hope's eyelashes aren't super thick anyway. Recently I started using the Magic Select tool for filling color, and I feel like a fool for ignoring it so long. So now my filling process is much quicker, as you can imagine. I made the background teal just to make it easy to tell the difference between it and the white shirt. In the end, I made the shirt off-white because things rarely are pure white. The eyeballs are a light grey blue. Here's where I fix the lips and take out the outside line art. I just prefer the outer lines to be less defined because our lip lines aren't super defined in real life. Unless you're wearing lip liner, of course, and J-Hope is not. He is wearing at most lip balm in this picture. I accidentally made the irises too dark at first. It's easy to lock transparent pixels and color them lighter. Now onto shading. I usually start with the eyeballs, and I used a textured airbrush, slightly bluish grey. Colouring eyes is fun and adds a lot of life to the drawing. I have to restrain myself from adding too many bright spots. J-Hope's irises in the picture were almost cartoonishly ringed with a darker brown. I used the same textured airbrush from the eyeballs to shade the irises in a gradient on top of the other shading and highlights. And some cute shinies. I forgot to colour the button. I flipped the drawing back to the way the photo is to make it easier to shade from the reference. I initially made the skin shading contrast with the skin base, but I thought it looked weird, so I changed it to a more muted color. J-Hope has very distinctive facial features, so replicating them, it's not too hard to make the picture look like him. His smiley eyes and eye bags are so cute. See, it looks weird with the dark shading. Much better. Shiny spots are fun to do. I think it brings out the shape of his nose. I agonized over the lips a lot. You can't really tell with it sped up so much, but it took me a while to figure out how I wanted them to look. I didn't want them to be too close to the color of the skin shading. I changed the line art for the neck shoulder because I thought it looked weird. To be honest, I'm not 100% happy with it, but it's hard to make too many changes this far into a drawing. Here it looks like I had a way easier time than I really did shading the hair. But actually, hair is fun to do. I used to do it a bit differently, but at the moment I'm into cell shading, so things are more blocky. I used a combination of stabilized and unstabilized G-pen to do the shading and highlights. I find drawing quite absorbing, taking enough of my attention that it's hard to get anxious. Unless I get anxious and frustrated about the drawing itself. I'm trying not to get too perfectionist and picky about my drawings and just do my best without beating myself up about imperfections. When I think like that, drawing is fun and relaxing. I know I'm not as good as other people, but that's fine. I failed art in high school because I got too stressed to finish my project. My art teacher didn't speak to me after that. She probably thought I was just lazy, but I was actually having a mental breakdown. Oh dear. Fabric shading is fun. It took me a bit to figure out which texture brush I wanted to use for the inside of the denim. I used one that I downloaded. I'll put a link in the description for that brush pack. It's a really good one. I also used it for the necklace. I forgot to shade the button. This button is cursed. I'm a fool. Just pretend the light is shining directly on it. Clip Studio Paint crashed and I had to shade the heart again, but that's okay. I do save frequently. You should all save frequently. Time to make the necklace shiny, but not the button. The button sadly doesn't get to be shiny. I used a textured airbrush to add a yellowy colour dodge to highlight, and also a blue colour burn to darken. I forgot to record when I erased some of the burn because I got a bit wild with it. As you can see, it got on his face and looks a bit weird. The background paper texture comes with Clip Studio paint. I drew squiggles on it because I thought it suited Hobie. So the final product. I'm pretty pleased with it. I sped up a drawing process that took about an hour and 40 minutes down to about 11 minutes. That's not including sketching or staring at it while trying to figure out if anything needs to change. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. I'll leave my social media below and will endeavour to fill it with lots of art.